Okay, guys. So you guys have asked me to share. You know, she's so sweet and snuggly. I love all the snuggles. Yes. Okay, you guys have asked me to share the story behind the white kidnapper vans. So this is a follow-up, more details. I have the story on here on another video about what I did to make the Alaska trip happen. My first solo out of the state adventure. And y'all know me, I love traveling. Which, by the way, since some of you guys were asking, I'm still working it out, seeing how it could potentially work, because I can't do the distance thing. It's just not, my gift is my hands, my presence, me being there. So some of you guys are wondering if I would travel and do healing sessions in other states. So I hear you. I love that you guys are thinking of this, and let me think about how that could potentially work. Maybe I don't know. Well, I'll think about it. So anyways, because you guys know I love to travel, I'm definitely up for that. I just got to kind of think about the logistics now that you guys mentioned it. So let's talk about the white vans. So my Alaska trip, I was at work. I was at Halo's, or my old OS physical therapy clinic, which y'all know the magical story about how I ended up back in there. And apparently that space just needed me for a little bit longer. And I love the windows on that space. Oh my goodness, I don't need anything that big again, but all the windows in that space just brought me so much joy. I knew that was my space for my old OS clinic. So as I was saying, I had just finished booking, so I already had the flight thanks to the girl on Facebook inviting me on her trip. This was then when we found out that our budgets did not align. And so I looked up other ways to make the trip happen. And it was, of course, during COVID. I don't know why I said of course, like that, but it was during COVID. So I wanted to figure out how I could make that trip happen. And I stumbled on Denali hostels. And at that time, because of COVID, they were not room sharing unless it was like a group that you were traveling with, meaning that when you reserved, you had to make reservations for the entire room. So when I called, they had a room of 8 bunk beds available for me. And so I went ahead and I, said, okay, how much is it then for 2 nights? I think that was what I knew I could start with. She was like, it's this much. And I was like, okay, how much is it for 3 nights? She's like, it's this much. I was like, okay, how much is it for 4 nights? And she said, it is this much. And I said, well, I thought that number was slightly above what I had in my bank account. I said, well, is there any way you can make it happen for under this? Because this is what I have in my bank account. And she said, sure, we can do this. It left me $17 in the bank to make this trip happen. And it was like the universe just cheering me on. I walk outside, and in the parking lot right across from where I was working is a Firestone. And so they often have different vehicles, that they're working on. They worked on the Amazon fleet for a while. But I walk outside and there are 3 big white vans. And I'm not talking about the ones that have windows that are used as passenger vans. I am talking about the ones that are the kind with only the front windows and then the back is all solid, you know, like construction vans, right? Usually. But growing up, because I lived in a lot of fear. I mean, I did. My parents live in so much fear. You guys have heard some of the stories. I mean, come on, who gives up a free hotel night because somebody might steal your catalytic converter? Just like, and they do, they choose, they do, they live in a lot of fear. And when I, you know, tell them things like, oh, hey, I'll gladly take the next hotel room off your hands, they kind of look at me like, wait, like, I'm not worried about somebody stealing my catalytic converter. Like, so I'm the one who leaves my doors unlocked. Like, thanks, Mom and Dad. Which they've never gifted me one of their free hotel nights, but that's okay. They've given me a lot. So I don't know, maybe because that one they wouldn't be able to throw back in my face. I don't know. But anyways, they love me. They do. I know they do in their own way. They do. They love me so much, and I love them with distance. So, as I was saying, I walk outside and there's 3. But growing up, the stories were that I was told, that I heard, was that those were the ones that you had to watch out for, because if they drove by, they'd throw you in the back and kidnap you and make you sell magazines out of the back of the van. I don't know where that magazine part came in. I don't. I guess that was like, you know, something to be fearful of, is being kidnapped and being forced to sell magazines in the back of a van. It wasn't like anything pedophilia. It wasn't, you know, sex trafficking. It wasn't any of that stuff. It was because they might kidnap you and make you sell magazines out of the back of the van. So I walk outside and I'm like, 1, 2, 3. Okay, universe. And I always say, show me 3 and you've got my attention. Now, sometimes the universe is showing me like a call to action, right? Like my breast implants, like letting me know, hey, by the way, this is what's making you so ill right now. You like to be natural. Don't put anything on me or in me. Like, I just kept hearing it over and over and over. My intuition was screaming at me, don't put anything on me or in me. And maybe part of it too was just say, go through the experience it. This is what's going on. It is your breast implants. You'll get there when you get there. And I did, after time, you know. But that's cool. I got there. And so I say, you know, like, and at that time, the breast implants, I didn't know that the universe was communicating with me. And then I eventually, what are you doing? What are you doing, silly? So I did figure out that the universe was communicating with me, and I knew. I walked out and I was like, okay, show me 3. You've got my attention. So it was kind of one of those where it's like, what do you want me to know about these white vans? Why are you showing me this? I took a couple guesses. I had no clue. Forgot about it. Continued, you know, booking my trip to Alaska. I did couch surfing. I did public transit. I did not have a rental car. I did hitchhiking. I stayed in a hostel. I had the most amazing time. I met the coolest chicks. Dorothy and Shelly, and like just amazing women who, you know, adopted me on my first solo trip, who were professionals and could sense that it, you know, maybe I was a newbie or whatever, and they were just so sweet to me, and I had such a fun time. And so here is where the white vans came in. So I did do couch surfing. I did an app called World Backpackers app. And this cutie pie is just giving me the biggest smiles right now, enjoying me tell my story. And then I got that cutie pie there too. And so it was called World Backpackers. I did not do the actual couch surfing app. That one had started charging, and I had heard that a lot of people weren't using it as much because the whole purpose of couch surfing is to offer a place to stay for free, and charging kind of went against that. So somebody else had told me about World Backpackers, which was still free, and I went on there. There were like 3 people in Alaska, and I messaged all 3, and you know, the first one was like a female, and then I think the other 2 were guys, and I didn't hear back from 2, but I did hear back from one of them. It was the guy, and oh my goodness, he just loves her so much. Oh, I know, isn't she just the sweetest baby in the whole wide world? She just tastes so good. Oh, he gives the sweetest kisses, but then sometimes gets a little overwhelming. But look at that smile. Look at that smile. I know, isn't he just the sweetest puppy ever? And I know. So it was one of the guys, and this was in Anchorage. So I originally had planned on staying one night there in Anchorage with him when I first got in, and then going to Denali, and then staying 3 nights with him again at the end of my trip. 3, yeah, I think that was it. I think that was it. 3 nights again at the end of my trip back in Anchorage. And so first time, right? First time couch surfing. And coolest idea ever, by the way. And like, I love that people are willing to do that. That's the kind of stuff that brings me so much joy. And that's the kind of stuff that people can live in fear of. And this is where the universe was talking to me and helping me to not be afraid. So I ended up, my flight left without me, and I had to take another flight, so I got in late, and it was kind of one of those things where it's like, well, I only get a few hours, you know, at this person's house. By then, I might as well just spend the night at the airport and take the train out in the morning. So I did. I messaged them. I let them know. And so I finished my trip to Denali and now take the train back to Anchorage. And the person's house that I'm staying at says, hey, give me a call when you get in. I'll come pick you up. I was like, oh, sweet. He's going to come pick me up from the train station. Like, again, I'm an empath. I'm not used to receiving. Like, I'm already going to stay at your place for free and you're going to come pick me up? Okay, cool. So I give him a call. He says, okay, this is where I'm at. You're just going to walk through this park right here. And I'm parked right here on the corner. And like kitty corner through the park. So I do. And I cut through the park. And I see the vehicle that is parked at the corner. Guess what it was, y'all? It was a white van. That's right. One of those ones without the windows in the back. And I was like, and I literally looked up at the universe, looked up at the sky, and I was like, universe, I am trusting you so much right now. Because I was somebody who lived in a lot of fear, and I was choosing to trust. I was choosing to have the universe show me how magical it can be, and that I can let go of this fear, and that I will be safe. And then I don't have to worry about somebody kidnapping me and throwing me in the back of their van and making me sell magazines. So, of course, I walk over, introduce myself. He introduces himself. I get in the white van. Ended up being a great experience. Dude might have been a little, quote, odd. I'm odd. I'm super odd. I would say maybe just a little lonely. I don't know. And I mean, so I slept on the couch at him and his roommate's apartment. It was great. It was there, you know. There was a shower. And I wake up the next morning and he's getting ready for work, and he was like, hey, are you hungry? Or no, he goes, hey, do you like coffee? And I was like, yes, I do. And he was like, okay, cool, here, I'll pour you a cup. And he was like, are you hungry? And I was like, yes, I am. And he was like, okay, here, I'll make you a salmon omelet. Keep in mind, I'm not a seafood person. This salmon omelet was amazing. And, like, not just hospitality, letting me stay at his place, but I met somebody else who likes to do stuff for people, right? Made me breakfast, made me coffee, we chatted some, and then he actually gave me a ride to the trail that I was hiking, and he dropped me off at the trail, at the trailhead, and to get to the trail required off-road clearance. And so then he said, when you're done, just hitch a ride back down, and, you know, you can call an Uber, you can call rideshare from there. And I did. I hitched a ride at the end, too, from this really sweet family, a mom and a dad, and their 4-year-old son just sitting in the seat, you know, next to me, like, on the other side, looking out the window, just sweetest kid, no car seat, no booster, no, just sitting in the seat, happy. Oh my gosh, I was like, this resonates with me so much. And yeah, so I did end up getting a hotel room for that last night. Being in my 30s, my back, you know, my body just was like kind of over, you know, bunk beds and a couch by the end of my trip, that I was like, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do a hotel room for the last night. So I did. But great experience, and that was the whole thing. The universe was letting me know with those 3 white vans that, hey, when you see this, just trust everything is okay. You're gonna be fine. And I did, and I laughed about it, and it was a great time. So trust those signs, listen to them. If you're seeing multiple of something, it's for a reason. It's trying to get your attention for a reason. And just enjoy it. Enjoy life. Enjoy the universe talking to you, your guides, your higher self, those of that have transitioned on, God, whoever, whatever. Start paying attention. Have fun with it. Let me know what some of the signs are that you've been seeing in your life. Alright, I'm gonna go play with this cutie who's been enjoying hearing my Alaska white van story. Huh. And I love you and hope you have an amazing, amazing rest of your day.